Hey everybody, Tony D with the Screenwriter's Rant. Little Joan is asleep on the couch. This is a movie called Blizzards of Souls. Blizzard of Souls? Blizzard of Souls. And it's, I guess it's in German? Joan, where are you? Why are you down here? Come here. Yeah, now you want to be in the video? Come here. You just went out of the room. Come here. You're ruining the whole take. Thank you. Here's Joe. All right. See, we're doing a movie. We're doing a movie thing. Thanks for running back in here, but, you know. Anyhow, this is a drama. It's billed as being based on true events and more real than 1917, which I hear is pretty good. I still haven't seen that. I did want to see that movie. So you can see the war is coming. This is World War One, and soldiers show up. They just start shooting people, and the main character, joins up in the war, signs up for the Latvian regiments. Oh man, I don't know where those guys ended up, but you know, it's not a great time to be in a war. Not that any time is, but geez. So he signs up and he goes to war. He's fighting in the trenches. Man, that was the worst way, the absolute worst way. Get ready for the attack, and then he somehow survives. So that's good. And pretty cool scenes here. You see him throwing grenades. See him shooting down on the hill at them. And man, the trenches. That's just one of the worst places to be. One of the worst places. Fighting in the rain and mud. This guy's had machine guns. There he is with a sniper rifle. Look at all the mud on his face. It just looks gritty. Gritty as hell. Except for this scene. I'll be waiting for you if you don't die in the war. Film that broke all domestic box office records. Well, that's pretty impressive. I guess it was in Latvia? Get down! There's always a scene like that. Phew, man, it just looks cold. I'm cold watching this trailer. And it's just very intense. Here they are shooting at guys. I guess that's World War II. I guess it goes World War I to World War II. I don't know. For betrayal, the punishment is death by shooting. No! It's just like horrible things happen in this movie from beginning to end. So war movies are a little tougher to navigate in terms of what's going to happen in them. Script by Boris Fumin and Diznars Drybergs. I'm not sure I'm getting that right. Directed by Diznars Drybergs. Okay. So, the thing about war movies, especially if they're based on true events, you kind of got to go with the true events because that's what happened. And you got to use them as a guide. So, depending on when the movie takes place, it could be the beginning of the war, which looks like here. It could be the whole war. It could just be towards the end. It rather than crafting a story based on the structure, you look at the events and pick and choose the events that would fit the structure of the 3-act. Right? So you kind of got to figure out where the movie's going to end. A lot of times war movies end with the main character dying, in the last heroic hurrah, or surviving, either one. There's a lot of death in war movies, so they tend to be dramas. They tend to be sad. Even when they're positive for the main character, dying heroically is still death, so it still kind of sucks for the main character. Even when they survive, they often survive, but they're horribly scarred, or by war, and you need that weight on the characters, or else you don't want to undermine the weight of the war. So they're difficult to write, unless you've been there. And then I imagine they're, easier in that you at least know the subject matter more. Um, but these are the events, they haunt people, and they're very. I shouldn't say they're important. They're very traumatic, and they're intense, and they're not to be underplayed. So they're very difficult. It's easy to go overboard, and make mistakes that way, and it's easy to undersell it too. So. Especially when you're dealing with something as far back as World War One, then you're talking a period piece. Technology's different, and further back you go, the more it becomes less. People are more distant from it. World War One is getting pretty far in the rearview mirror now for a lot of people. When I was a kid, there were still people alive from World War One. I think the last World War One vet died probably 20, 30 years ago. So there was a connection there because you still had people around from that time period. Now, geez, you'd have to be at least 20, 100, 100 to remember even World War One, and to actually be in it, you'd have to be like 118, something like that. You'd have to be really old. So I think pretty much all the World War One vets are gone. So, yeah, I think these movies are very dramatic because people just get torn to pieces both emotionally and physically, and this movie looks good. It looks good, and I can say that without even really seeing. I can't really tell what the first, second, and third act is. I have an idea. He signs up for war, possibly as revenge for something soldiers did to his family, and then he becomes, the second act's about him dealing with war and becoming a hardened veteran, and then by the third act, he's maybe he's a killing machine, and then the war ends, and I don't know if it quite goes into World War II or not. I'm not sure. Could. It's possible. Blizzard of Souls. It's quite a name for a movie. Check it out. I'm not sure when it's out. Doesn't say here. I would assume since 2021. This is the time of year for a movie like this. Dark, dreary, kind of cold movie. It's definitely not a summer blockbuster release.